Hi, everyone, and welcome to the newest episode of Building a Harmonious Family with Nevena Bajalat. And if you are a parent of boys, you want to make sure to stay till the end of this episode because my guest today is a mother of three boys. And she will talk to us about parenting boys, about managing their energy, balancing your work, your business. She's a business owner, entrepreneur, and balancing the work and household, parenting, and of course that energy that it's different, feminine and masculine energy, and how is to be the only female in the family. So my guest is Tina Mehra-Joshi, and Tina, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Thank you, Navina. Thank you for having me. And I just have to correct you. It's not three boys, it's four boys because the husband's included as well. And sometimes that's the biggest baby. So,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. All women say the same. So, so let's correct it. Four boys.
Yeah, it's a very interesting journey though with boys, and also my boys are different ages. So we have a nearly 20-year-old who had started university, and then we have a 17-and-a-half-year-old who is almost going into the last year of school, and then we have a little Nino 8 years old. So there's quite a difference. So it's been an interesting time, especially during the pandemic.
Yes. So tell me a little bit more about your journey as parenting three boys. How was it for you? I would love to know some challenges that you have because I'm sure they are three boys, but they're also very different. I know the children are often very different personalities. And I love to ask my guests, what are some struggles, some challenges you had? And of course, how did you overcome them? So those who are listening and who have a similar thing happening, we can help them with this conversation.
So, whether it's boys or girls, I think parenthood doesn't come with a manual. You can read all the books that are published out there, but it's something you do by instinct, and it's the best job that you learn on. So, having the two older boys and then having the third, I thought, I was much better at it. Um, but yes, there are struggles, like with anything in life. But it's also very rewarding. So I like to look at the positive side and think how rewarding it is to see these young people grow, because now I have two young adults in the house and see how they've grown and, what kind of individuals we're sending out there in the world. So then you forget about the struggles. But yeah, like you said, they're all different personalities. Even though it's same parents, everything is, you treat them equally. But everybody is really a different personality and they have their own qualities.
So which one? We always have a child that it's easier to deal with and another that challenges more. So did you had that in your experience that one of the boys is maybe more challenging than the others? How was it for you?
I don't think so. They had different challenges, each one of them. The only thing I would say is having the younger one much later in life. I was a much calmer parent. So parenting him was a lot easier. But he's also the most spoiled one because, he's got four people. If one doesn't listen to him, he just goes and asks somebody else. So, just managing the younger one and trying to keep him grounded was a lot harder than it was for the first two.
Yes, I understand that. Excellent. So now that you have different age groups, how do you manage? Let's talk a little bit more. How do you manage and organize your household, their activities, right? Because they all need different type of attention, schools, universities, and you run your own business. So I would love to know a little bit more. How do you manage that, and what helped you?
So I think prioritization is very, very important. When you have a business and a house and kids to manage, that is really important because you really need to know what is important to you and focus on that first. Otherwise, you will end up not doing anything at all. So yes, I prioritize a lot. I do a lot of mind maps. I'm always scribbling things and making lists and mind maps. So that's how I go about it. But also, I think it really helps if from a young age, especially if you're a working parent or you have a business, that you train your children also to be very independent. And luckily, the boys are quite independent. So, they're not dependent on me for everything. And so I can delegate their tasks to them very well.
Yes, that's amazing. And so, what are some things that you did from early age to make them more independent? I would love to know some of your tips from your personal experience, because I think sometimes children are young, so we overprotect them. And then, like you said, we run our business or have work. But if we really engage them and explain them, they really understand from very early age. So what are some things that you did to make them more independent, so you can go on with your business and your work and your husband as well? What are some things that you applied?
Um, so, obviously, like I said, you learn on this job of being a parent. So with the first one, I was also very protective and everything. Luckily, the second one was only 2 years apart from the first one. So it's a bit calmer. And then it was more of letting go for certain things, and not having to spoon feed them. It's okay if they do something themselves and they drop things, they learn from that. So it's very important to know that they're not creating a mess, they are actually learning from that. So I thought that was important. And also just simple things, having a structure, giving them a structure and then letting them work around it. So having simple routines in the house, simple tasks that everybody must do. Sit together at meal times is very important, because otherwise you're trying to say, oh, when can I find the time to do this with them? So as a family, if you sit together, everybody talks together, and that's something we always maintain. And then make sure everybody clears the table, even how young they are. They can start with little tasks, and then go on, and it should never be a chore, because you're all living in the same house. And they should always learn that they're part of the family and they need to do their bit.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for sharing this. This is very, very helpful. So the next thing I would like to ask you is, did you have a support, and how much, this really depends, right, on personality. How did you work in partnership with your husband to help you? And I would love to ask you, like in your journey as a parent, did you had a job? Did you at some point stay at home? And I know you run your business now, so you can share that as well. So throughout this 20 years, right, of being a parent, also, how did you had support, and how did you work in partnership with your husband?
So I have to say, even though I called him, the biggest kid, he is very supportive and a very hands-on father, and that really does help. So when the older two boys were born, we were in the UK, and we don't have the luxuries that you have in Dubai and UK. So everything had to be done. Luckily, I could get a lot of unpaid leave from my job when the first one was born. So it was 9/11, and so they could, I was in the airline industry, and they gave me a year and a half to be off, which was brilliant with the first child. But also, again, between me and my husband, we kind of divided our roles. So I would be home during the day, and then when he came home in the evening, he wanted to spend the time with the baby. So that was incorporated with giving the baby a bath and a massage, and putting the baby to bed. So it worked out well, and because of that, I think dads have a really good bond with the children if they interact with them at that young age. Um, so yeah, and even now there's different things that as a mother that I can do with the boys, and then there's different things that dad will do with them, and that way they get varied experiences, and at the same time a good bond with both the parents.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's very important that we take those roles as well. And tell me, I would love to hear some tools. Tell us a little bit more about, you're a business owner. So tell us a little bit more about starting your business and running your business and parenting at the same time. How was it at the beginning? How did you manage to do it? And what are maybe some time management tools that you use to achieve everything?
Yeah, so in Dubai, I started my business about 12 years ago. I started my first business. Now I have three businesses that I run. So I thought, three kids, three businesses, got to match that. Um, it was, and businesses are like parenting again, because there is no manual. So the first one was harder. but as you went along, you learned on the job. And again, it's about getting the right people, and it's about delegating. I think in running a business, it's very important that you delegate, so that you can do what is important and strategic as a business owner, and then leave somebody else to run some of it, if you can afford to do
Yes.
that. And also setting yourself some goals is important. So often we are just running around like headless chickens, but we don't know why we're doing it. So if you have goals, it helps you reach those targets, and you know why you're doing it, and then you prioritize. So yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Well, what would be advice that you want to give to parents who have boys? What is something that you learn on this journey, and that you would like to share with everyone listening?
So to mothers of boys, or parents of boys, you are mothers of dragons. So take a deep breath and keep calm. But having said that, because we always think of boys as being very loud and very full of energy. Each child is different, and if you can channelize the energy in a good way, find them good creative outlets, then it's really, really a fun journey. We end up as a family doing more outdoor stuff like trekking and exercising together. So yes, I miss having somebody to shop with, but other than that, go with the flow and kind of do things that will use their energy creatively, and you'll have a great time as a family.
Excellent, excellent. I think sometimes we stereotype because I know a lot of men who also love shopping, right? So it's very, very individual. And we have to just look into individuality. And like you said, very important to find a way to challenge energy. I work with children and families for many, many years, and I know some girls are even more energetic than some boys. So it's not always that the boys have more energy. So it's really about looking into your child and seeing how we can channel that and really give them what they need at that point and that age. Yes. So
Yeah,
tell
that's
me,
very true.
yes. So tell me, Tina, please, a little bit more about your businesses. For those who are listening, are your businesses in Dubai? How people can connect with you, reach with you? We will make sure that we put the description and links to your websites and way to connect with you in the description of this podcast episode, so everyone can reach out. But tell us a little bit more. What are some projects that you started, businesses that you're doing, and maybe there are people listening who definitely will, need those services.
Thank you, Navina. So, as if having 3 kids at home was not enough, the first business I started is called Splash and Bounce Parties. So it's an events company, and we started out specializing in pool parties. It is based in Dubai because Dubai has got loads of pools and lots of communities and compounds. And so we go to people and we set up a mini aquaventure park in your house or in your pool. So that was the first business. And then we moved on to doing corporate events. So we also do corporate events, which is called S&B events. So, if a company wants a big family fun day, then we do that. And then we have lots of kids to manage there as well. And then finally, last year during the pandemic, when the events industry was very quiet, we set another vertical called Balloons and Beyond, which is an e-commerce website for balloon and gifting delivery. And so we say we deliver happiness. We bring to you balloons or anything you want to deliver, because what we realized during the pandemic was that even though people were socially distanced, they still wanted to be emotionally connected, and they wanted to send things to their loved ones. So we started doing that.
Great idea, and I love it. I love everyone. We will put the links so you can, if you're looking for gifts to send over, make sure to check Tina's businesses. And if you're organizing and you want to organize any kind of parties, that's also great. So Tina, as we're wrapping this episode, I want to ask you, what is one last piece of advice you would like to share? Maybe it's something connected in the last year. How was pandemic for you? How did you manage to, stay focused on your business and keep the mental health of your family and your boys? So what are some things that you've been through in the last year? What is maybe one last piece of advice you would like to share to everyone listening?
The last year was really, really great learning, I think, for a lot of people. And, you know, when the pandemic started, so our oldest was at university, but he had to be here, so he was missing out on his student life. The middle one was missing out on, you know, all the fun that you have in high school. And the youngest just missed being outdoors with his friends. So it was hard for them. But I think the way we got around it is that we started structuring things. So saying, you know, the young one would, you know, be fine during the day, but by evening he would get really cranky. So you knew that he just wanted to go out. So we set up a little badminton court in our little garden. And then we started doing quiz nights, you know, because that's what you would have done if you were at university. You would have gone around to the pub with friends, you know, done a quiz night, and a lot of Zoom interaction with friends so that everybody felt connected. And so as a result, what happened is we bonded much better as a family. And even to our extended family, we were far more connected. So I think the important thing to learn out of that is that we are sometimes so busy doing things that we think are normal. It's just nice to think a little out of the box and reach out to people and connect. And then what you get back in return is amazing.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. This was priceless hearing all of these tips, and I'm sure everyone listening will enjoy it as well. Well, once again, make sure to check Tina's businesses description in the description of this episode. All the links are there. And I want to thank you for listening. Make sure to download this episode, save it, share it with others so they can benefit as well. And I will see you in the next one.